We had a story just break, team, that isn't particularly good timing for the Democrats who have just gone forward today with the articles of impeachment. This just up now. It's an exclusive. And hey, it's from Time Magazine. Maybe, maybe sometimes even the broken clock or the broken time is right once. See what I did there? This is a little forced. All right, here's what they say. Exclusive top Ukraine official Andriy Yermak casts doubt on key impeachment testimony. This is the piece by Simon Schuster out of Kyiv. But you're not allowed to say Kiev anymore. You know that? So in a restaurant now, you cannot order chicken Kiev. You have to order chicken Kyiv. That's what they tell you. And you never say the Ukraine. Everyone's figured that out now. It's just Ukraine, which means borderland, interestingly enough. Milwaukee, which means the good land. Well, Milwaukee's had more than its fair share of visitors. All right. I'm sorry. We're not worthy. Here we go. Since the start of the public impeachment hearings in Congress last month, Andriy Yermak, a top advisor of the president of Ukraine, has heard his name come up again and again in witness testimony. He took part in many of the events of the Senate of the impeachment inquiry, yada, yada. But in his first interview about those public hearings, Yermak has questioned the recollections of crucial witnesses in the impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump's alleged abuse of his office for political gain. Listen, I want to tell you straight, Yermak told Time in the interview on December 4th, the first time he has openly discussed his views on the public impeachment hearings. Of course, now when I watch these shows on television, my name often comes up, and I see people there whom I recognize, whom I met and know, he says, referring to the witness testimony. That is their personal opinion, especially the positions they express while under oath. I have my own truth. I know what I know. The most crucial point at which Yermak's recollection contradicts the testimony of the inquiry's witnesses relates to a meeting in Warsaw on September 1st when Ukrainian President Volodymyr, that's the fun way to say it. I'm just reading it the way it says, but I got to lean into it a little bit. You can't just be like Volodymyr. It's got to be Volodymyr Zelensky. Volodymyr Zelensky. I sound like I came straight from Kyiv myself. Met with U.S. Vice President Mike Pence. The meeting was part of an ongoing effort by the Zelensky administration to improve ties with the Trump administration. Here's what we got. One of the American diplomats who attended that meeting, Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, testified before the inquiry that he pulled Yermak aside after the Warsaw meeting and delivered an important message. U.S. aid to Ukraine would probably not resume until Zelensky's government announced 2 investigations that could implicate President Trump's political rivals. I told Yermak, blah, blah, okay, yeah, we got that. This statement was supposed to be investigations, blah, blah. Yermak disputes this. Quote, Gordon and I were never alone together. We bumped into each other in the hallway next to the escalator. I was walking out. He recalls that several members of the American and Ukrainian delegation were also nearby, as well as bodyguards and hotel staff, though he was not sure whether any of them heard his brief conversation with Sondland. And I remember everything's fine with my memory. We talked about how well the meeting went. That's all we talked about, Yermak says. So Sondland was supposed to, and by the way, who even remembers at this point, right? Very few people. But Sondland was supposed to be this big bombshell witness for them because he said that Yermak, Andriy Yermak, not to be confused with Volodymyr Zelensky, Andriy Yermak, he said that Yermak was clear that there was essentially a give us these investigations or there's not going to be any military aid for you guys. And the Democrats like, oh, Ukrainians, and the military aid that Trump would give them, but that Obama wouldn't give them. And like, it's so evil that Trump wouldn't give it to them. Turns out that may not be what happened. We got differing recollections here. So what do we make of this? Democrats aren't going to stop. They're not going to. They will say that this means nothing. But another data point, more evidence to contradict the official left-wing narrative here. And the official left-wing narrative, as we know, is that President Trump did something terrible to get dirt on his political opponent so that Ukraine would interfere in our election. I just want to know something. I thought about this, and I meant to mention this before. What if Ukraine, just on its own, said, guys, they made a public statement. Hunter Biden did something, he did illegal stuff here in Ukraine when he was on the board of this company, promising favors to people. It is corruption. And would that be interference in the election? Well, I need to understand what now constitutes foreign interference in the election. A foreign country is not allowed to say anything? Not allowed to do anything? That's foreign interference. The announcement of an investigation into a situation in their own sovereign territory is foreign interference, huh? So that means that they could not announce that investigation. That's an interesting way of making sure that no one's ever going to get to the bottom of exactly what the Biden situation in Ukraine was, isn't it? There's like a special Democrat immunity that apparently kicks in when you're a Biden, which I think everybody understands should not be the case, but it is the case because the Democrats do this. Anyway, that's what I got for you on this story that won't change any Democrat minds. But yeah, they're wrong. They're making it up as they go along. We all know that. And now let's talk about something that's going to be really, really going to get some people fired up. Vegans. Gotta tell you, I really enjoyed this story because there's definitely a movement afoot right now to convince people that they should not only abandon meat, but that they should abandon all animal products. And one of the ways they're trying to sell this, there's this new documentary on Netflix called Game Changers that I've seen, where they tell you that you will be healthier, stronger, and live longer, and your athletic performance, they're really trying to sell this, your athletic performance will improve if you eat a plant-based diet. That's the other way of saying it. No animal products, plant-based diet. Only eat plants. Now, I know there's some of you out there who are vegetarians, and you're going to send me your photos of your six-packs and, your bikini bods and all this stuff and say, I'm a vegetarian, look at me. Look, here's where I come down on this in general. Everyone has different genetics. We all have different genes, different things. You can have gluten who listen to this. I can't, right? So there's different food that affects people in different ways. That's fine. But as a general rule, I find the notion that human beings, we are, in fact, primates, right? We are animals. In fact, we ain't nothing but mammals. I worked that one into the show. So, but human beings are, in fact, mammals. And the truth is, we eat meat. We eat a lot of things. We always have, and we always should. But there's this big effort to make that all go away. Well, story here on Fox. Vegan influencer eats meat for 30 days, shocks fans by saying she's healthier than she's felt in years. She actually went on the Carnivore Diet. She spent 30 days eating nothing but meat and meat products, and she had she had very positive effects on her health. She said, quote, "I'd had my own share of," her name is Elise Parker. "I had my own fair share of health struggles, eventually reached a breaking point where I was willing to try anything to function properly again. People in the carnivore diet only allow themselves to eat meat and animal products like eggs and dairy." And she wrote the following. By this point, you probably know that I love trying new things, running little experiments and diving into challenges of all sorts. Some of the experiments I've run in the past: 30 days without shampoo, 1 year without deodorant, 21 days of only fruit juice, 30 days without social media, 3 years of not shaving my armpits, not wearing makeup, not using heat on my hair. Yeah, some call me crazy, but I'm a firm believer in experiencing things firsthand, getting a real feel for what something's all about before I form a personal opinion on it. The carnivore diet came into my awareness when a close friend shared with me all the benefits that he was experiencing by eating this way. Coming from being vegan 4.5 years, I was really resistant to the concept of only eating animal foods. Didn't make any sense to me. It actually sounded pretty ridiculous. But oddly enough, I started to hear story after story from my fellow vegans from jumping ship, testing out the carnivore diet and experiencing amazing health transformations. But I knew I needed to try it, so I swallowed my pride, decided to give it a shot. My vegan identity crumbled immediately. I woke up feeling more mentally clear, focused, wholesome, and healthy than I had in years after day one. This past year of my life has been a journey of remembering who I am separate from what I eat. In hopes of challenging others to step out of their current perspective, I documented my newest challenge of only eating meat for 30 days. Friends, what have I been telling you here? The periods I've gone through where I have had the best health in my life, my diet consisted essentially of protein with some vegetables, but mostly bacon and eggs, and then some form of protein at night. I was fitter, healthier, and better. And you're saying, why don't I do that now? I'm busy. I'm trying to do this, write books, and I get caught up. And sometimes I like to eat sweets and eat bad things and drink mezcal. And anyway, I should probably cut all that crap out. But vegans really want to believe, and I know I'm starting some stuff here, but at least I'm not in the great conservative porn debate of 2019 the way some others are right now. People are all this time talking about how we need to regulate porn more. I'm just like, the discussion, just put aside for a second the merits or drawback. It's just not going to happen. There's not going to be this great regulation. People are saying we're going to have age verification. Come on. Kids will find a way around that in a nanosecond if they really want to. All you need is one. Anyway, I'm not getting dragged into the great porn debate of 2019. I'm not doing it. I got other things to focus on here. Porn is bad. Don't consume porn. There you go. End of buck in the debate on that one. But vegans have come at us all with this, it's so much healthier for you thing for a while now. I mentioned this Game Changers movie, and they're like, I am like Hans and Franz, like I'm so big and strong because I only eat vegan. And like they're telling everybody, these athletes, they're all going to be. When you're an Olympic level athlete, when all you do in life is look at the numbers and it's a question of just mere seconds for who wins, or just, small advantages are at the highest level incredibly important, because the distinction between a champion and somebody else who just was in the mix is very, very small. If you're going to tell me that just eating plants would really dramatically improve athletic performance that much for that many people, I'm sorry, people would be doing this all over the place. If people are willing to inject steroids into themselves of all kinds and designer drugs, trust me, they would go plant-based if they really thought it would make them like Hans and Franz, superhuman strength. Like, no one really. But here's the thing that I noticed, vegans, it's really a moral choice masquerading as a health choice for a lot of people. And this is where I know people are going to get mad at me about this, but it's true. It's like the diet of the virtue signaler. Because remember, it's not just don't eat meat. That's vegetarian. Vegan is no milk, because you're so mean with the cow udders. Like, this is bizarre. No milk, no honey, because honey is bee slavery. I mean, it makes no sense to me. What's the problem? But they're not okay with no animal products of any kind. And they want to tell you that it's going to make you much healthier. Human beings have been eating meat for a very, very long time. If you go back into the era of cavemen, for example, yes, there's some things we would forage for, nuts, berries, some of that. But what is actually a new innovation in the history, and I've been reading up on this stuff quite a bit because I find it interesting. What is a new innovation for the human species is large-scale agriculture, is a diet consisting of a lot of grain and a lot of corn and wheat. Don't even get me started on dwarf wheat, which is a form of wheat that's genetically modified to grow denser and faster, so that you have more of it that comes from when you plant an acre of wheat. You have more. It's just basically more efficient growth of wheat. But if you look at what that plant looks like versus what we think of as wheat from hundreds of years ago, it looks like a totally different plant. And people wonder why you have about 5% of the U.S. population is believed to have celiac disease, which I have. And one of the prominent theories about it is that we are all ingesting this genetically modified wheat and all these other grain products all the time in ways that our ancestors would not have. The new introduction is mechanized farming and grain-based diets. This is where you get people now that are saying you should have the carnivore diet, the caveman diet. What do you call the paleo? That's what I was trying to think of. Paleo diet was just how do people used to eat, and maybe that would be healthier. Now there are people that would point out that, for example, human beings when we were back in the caveman era, I think the life expectancy was like 40. But then you always have to do does that take into account infant mortality? Because that can dramatically pull down life expectancy. If you make it past infancy, do you actually live a pretty long life in a society? That's always very important for those numbers. Anyway, basically, eat bacon and eggs, everybody. That's what I'm here to tell you. Eat bacon and eggs. They lied to you about eggs. We're going to talk about fake news. They lied to us about eggs my entire childhood. They give you cholesterol. They raise your cholesterol, and they give you heart disease. Not true. Not true. They lied to you about butter. Don't eat butter. Have margarine instead. A terrible, terrible untruth. Is that a word? I don't know. I'll ask Don Lemon. But they lied to us about all this stuff. They told you to eat 6 to 12 servings or 6 to 11 servings of grain a day. Like just sit around and eat rice and pasta all day long. It's horrible for you. And now I see the vegans put on their back feet there, I don't believe in eating things that could have a name and a personality. Well, you know what, Producer Brandon? I do. And I think that if you look at, if it's immoral for us to eat animals, then I need to understand why isn't it immoral for animals to eat other animals, and therefore shouldn't we just be constantly stopping lions from committing murder against gazelles? Don't we have to hold them to account for this immorality that is the basis of all life? Life is life eating life. This is what actually happens. We remember this from third grade science class. The big fish eats the little fish eats the we know about this, right? It goes all the way down. It's a circle of life, Brandon. Apparently the circle of life is going to be longer, happier, and healthier if you eat meat along the way. I want you to send me your thoughts on vegan diets, on paleo diets. I got a lot of expertise in this audience. I want to know what you think about this. teambuck@iheartmedia.com. If you have any good vegan jokes, by all means. And yes, I know, I'm sure there's some vegan super athletes in the audience who are going to send me their, look at my abs, I've got the 12-pack, yeah. Okay, great. But for most of us, eating legumes and a few stray macadamia nuts, it's not going to get it done, all right? It's not going to work. I love what they also try to tell you, like, oh, you can have amazing things, like portobello mushroom, which can almost taste like meat. I was like, no. Portobello mushroom can almost taste like meat when you use it as an accoutrement for my big slab of tasty red meat that I'm eating. Maybe then, like, if you want to put your portobello mushroom on my burger, fine. Don't take the portobello mushroom, though, stuff it in my face and say, just as good as a burger. Because you know what that is, my friends? That is fake news. What happened? Hillary Clinton, folks. This just out today. Clinton is... I looked at this. I was like, this can't be a news story from today. There's no way. But it is. It is. Clinton is now the 2020 frontrunner in a new party poll. A new poll has Hillary Clinton as the top choice for the 2020 Democratic Party nomination, and she's not even running. The online Harris poll survey released by the Center for American Political Studies at Harvard found that Clinton placed first with 21% of the vote, followed closely by former Vice President Joe Biden at 20%, Senator Bernie Sanders at 12%, Senator Elizabeth Warren at 9%, and former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg at 7%. Pollsters also surveyed, this is all in the New York Post, surveyed respondents without Clinton in the race. Biden came out first, 29% of the vote, followed by Sanders at 16% and Warren at 13%. My friends, if Hillary Clinton declared her candidacy tomorrow, she would be number one on the polls. I mean, we can't know that from this poll per se, but I am telling you, if Hillary Clinton declared herself, she would be number one in the polls tomorrow. It's stunning, but that is where this Democratic Party is right now. They still they want to redo. They want to redo. I know it's insane. I've had people tell me that they really also think that Michelle Obama, this has been another theory that's out there. I know Tucker talked about it on his show, but I was on Tucker's show last night. Great time, fantastic stuff. If you get a chance, I think you can check it out on foxnews.com. We couldn't find the clip. We're going to try to pull a clip, though, so I can post it on Facebook and stuff for you. But Tuck and Buck had an epic hair battle. Tuck's swoop was strong last night. I cannot lie. It was a close-fought contest, that much is for sure. The battle of the swoops. But back to Hillary Clinton getting into this thing, I think that it's likely that you're going to see a bit of a surge in this because they're going to want to do a little bit of the trial balloon thing. Oh, is Hillary going to get in or not? And Michelle Obama, as we know, is also a favorite of the Democratic Party. What would be really interesting is if Michelle Obama got in and also Hillary got in. But now we're talking crazy talk, I know. But that would be really fascinating to watch that one play out. But the Clinton dynasty does not think it is done yet. I really mean the Clinton dynasty does not believe that it no longer should be the choice of the Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton is waiting in the wings for her opportunity. Think about this, friends. How is it that she can't be considered a serious possibility when she has recently been saying things like, I know a lot of people asked me to run. They're impeaching this president. The Democrats are saying that Trump didn't really win the 2016 election, that he cheated. Everybody knows Joe Biden is a joke. They may vote for him anyway, but the guy's a joke. It's ridiculous. They're not going to vote for a socialist for the president of the United States. They're not going to have a socialist win the primary. The Bernie and the Warren people are just going to have to, eat their peas and vote for somebody that's too corporate, man, and too much in the pocket of the big business capitalist, man. And yeah, whatever. They're going to have to just deal with it. And here's the truth of it. If it were Hillary or Biden, if you were the Democrat that got to make the choice, if you had to pick who you think is more likely to defeat Trump in the next election, Hillary or Biden, I think a lot of people would say Hillary. I really do. And clearly that's why she's, in this poll you have, it's only one poll, but she's not even a candidate. Hillary she's smarter than Biden. Let's just be honest about this. She's smarter than Biden. She has more relevant experience to the presidency in a lot of ways. I know Biden was vice president, but come on, vice presidents don't do anything. We could argue the Biden-Hillary experience thing. Who cares? Fine. All right, maybe I'll retract. I'm not always right. I'll retract that. Don't hold the phone. Buck's not always right, but still, I was gonna say who's in better health. I don't know. That might be a tough one too. Okay, maybe Biden's a better. I don't know. I still think Hillary's she's just a more formidable candidate than Biden would be. But and I still think that Michelle Obama's just not going to get in. If she did, it would be very interesting. It would be very, very interesting. But Hillary is now the number one according to this poll. So we'll see. It would be what could make this 2020 election more intense, crazier, and just more of the greatest show on earth in a lot of ways. I don't know. Hillary deciding to throw her hat in the ring would certainly be high up on the list of things that I think would get people really engaged in this. And, remember, the Democrats don't accept 2016. So as much as a lot of us sit around saying that this would be completely absurd, I think there are others among us who realize that, Hillary is still out there and still very much willing, I think, if there was a pathway for her to run for president one more time.
It's time for roll call.
Indeed it is. Roll call time. So with that, let's get to it, my friends. Facebook.com/Buck Sexton if you would enjoy some of your roll call thoughts to be shared with the rest of the crew. And also, this is where I do have to have our usual pitch. Please subscribe to the Buck Sexton Show on iTunes or on the iHeart app. Keep in mind, it goes up every day on podcast around 3 Eastern. You can also watch it on the Pluto TV app, which you can download free. And you should. It's a great app. Download it to your phone. Lots of fun channels, lots of cool stuff. The best channel, though, is channel 248, The First, which is where you can watch us do our thing here in the Freedom Hut every day. All right. Sean writes, Buck, why is nobody talking about the fact the IG report doesn't mention James Comey? Shields high from behind enemy lines in occupied California. Sean, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll have to check into that. Oh, well, a lot of GoldenEye commentary here. Did you play Brandon back in the day?
I wasn't good.
What was the video game that you achieved the greatest degree of supremacy in your skills?
I was really good at the then WWF No Mercy. I like the old school wrestling games. Or Mario Kart.
Interesting. I did. Do you remember a game called Tekken 2?
With the Tekken series.
Tekken series.
Yeah.
I got to a point at Tekken where I'm telling you, if they had like sent me to one of those tournaments in South Korea or something, I would have crushed everybody.
Those guys, though.
Spent way too much of my youth
enough.
doing these things. Yeah. I was cool, though, I swear. Adam writes, Buck, on GoldenEye, I would happily challenge you to a remote mine duel. All you would see is my back and fire. Shields high. See, I know what he's talking about. Remote mines were great, man. Remote mines were kind of like the equivalent of getting a knife kill in Counter-Strike. When you got somebody with a remote mine in GoldenEye, it was just like, ooh, it burns. It burns. All right. Another one. Roger writes, on GoldenEye, I was so good I could kill people in other rooms by looking at their screen and bouncing grenades off the walls. Ah, that's kind of like the Deflategate Tom Brady, cheat a little bit version, but I like where his head's at on that one. Chris, Buck, last week you made a reference about how Democrats are kind of like seals. As a fisherman from San Diego, I could not agree with you more. They're a huge problem in California, and it only takes one to ruin the party. I have to think they're swimming around like socialists because they steal your bait every time and leave you with nothing. And if you wind up fishing and one is around, they're going to find it and either take the whole thing for themselves or take a sizable bite that will ruin the fish completely. Not to mention they're very overpopulated here, so much so it's become a huge problem for the local ecosystem. I laughed out loud when you made that reference, so I had to write about it. Thanks for all you do. My mom and I listen to the podcast every day. Seriously, thanks. Well, Chris, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And I didn't realize how deep my seal analogy could go, but now I know. You know what I always thought was kind of cool, actually? Otters. I always thought otters would be a fun. Like if you could have a pet that you shouldn't have as a pet, but I feel like a sea otter would be kind of fun.
Those are the best.
And I actually remember I had a VHS growing up, which those of you who are gray-beard millennials and up know what a VHS is. The young ones listening don't know. I had a VHS growing up of a movie called Ring of Bright Water that was about a guy in England. It's a very boring movie, but it's about a guy in England who adopts a baby sea otter, and it becomes his companion. It's like Old Yeller,
amazing,
but with a sea otter.
They hold hands when they're asleep, so they don't swim away from each other. That's how cute they are. They hold hands while they're sleeping.
See, I think also for human beings, we should establish that, for example, if you have somebody else who is sharing, you're sleeping in the same bed, that you're amorously involved with, maybe just hand holding, but like nobody wants to sleep with the arm under the head or around the, under the pillow, or nobody wants that. You don't sleep well. You wake up, your neck's all tight, but if you roll over to your side, it's like, I'm sorry, is something wrong? She's like, oh no, of course not, honey. And then you got to roll back, and you got to put the arm under the.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Just
and then you get
otter thing.
Then you get alligator arm. Where your arm's like feels like it's like all small and about to fall off because it falls asleep. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So we should just be like sea otters and maybe just hold hands under the blanket until you fall asleep.
I like it.
There we go. Trying to come up with new solutions for America. Steven. Buck, thank you for your very informative show. I listen every night while here at work in the Houston Space Center area. Very cool. I would like to ask, is it possible if you make producer Brandon your permanent producer? He is very
He is not a friend of mine.
He is very respectful of you. He does not contradict you. He does not tell you you're wrong about sports or movies. Producer Brandon has proper manners and respect for and loyalty for Buck Sexton. He knows and fully understands it is the Buck Sexton show. I only have good things to say about you, producer Brandon. Please make him the full-time producer. Thank you very much, Steven.
I do not know Steven.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We'll save that for producer. We're gonna put this one aside and save it for producer Mark when he gets back.
See what he says.
Man, I just want to hear like that salty outburst that he's gonna have. Like, hey, well, some people were, blah, 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 blah. He's gonna be all producer Mark like, and it's funny too. People think that he's older than me. He's a baby.
No,
he's 26.
Yeah, he's younger than both of us.
I mean, he sounds like a 65-year-old cab driver sometimes, but he's,
I think that's why he sounds like an old curmudgeon.
Yeah, it sounds like a curmudgeonly old New Yorker.
Yeah, I've just been beaten down, so that's why I'm not angry anymore.
Are we? How old are you?
I'm 36.
Oh, we're same age. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I thought you were older.
I'm 37, but I'm trying.
Early
I got a
birthday?
few more weeks at 37.
Gotcha.
You'll leave me there. Let's see here. Caroline writes, "Hey Buck, your command of the English language remains precise. Whoops. Your command of the English language remains precise and astute. Immiserate is most definitely a proper word. To use it correctly, meaning to make one more miserable. You accurately spoke of immiserated socialist societies. I look forward to your upcoming book on socialism, Shields High." Carolyn, thank you so much. Immiserated is a great word, and I'm glad that we were able to use it. Not to be confused with, isn't it macerated when it's like cherries that have been all chopped up or something?
Why does it sound violent?
It does sound violent, but I think it's like or is it Mascherino cherries?
Yes, that's
Macerated cherries? I don't know. We'll figure this out.
Mascherino cherries, I believe.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Joe, Buck, I heard you on Tucker tonight. Woohoo! And you were highlighting how Trump has been tough on Russia. You left out the most important one. By producing and exporting more oil and natural gas, Trump has greatly weakened the energy monopoly Putin has on Europe. This is huge, probably hurts Putin more than anything else. Joe, that's true, although I haven't left that out in the sense that I have talked about that before. But fair point that I didn't get it in last night. But also people wouldn't say that Trump is personally responsible really for the shale oil revolution. It was actually occurring despite Obama's best efforts to stop it. It really began, I think, around 2010 was when it started to pick up dramatically. And it has been a game changer. John writes, Buck, first of all, you're right. That's how you got to start out every message, The Avengers movies are without a doubt boring and lack creativity. Second, do you think that if the Democrats had control of the Senate, they would still be trying to impeach Trump in the House? They know he won't be removed in the Senate, but they thought he would be. I'm not so sure they would just be trying to impeach. It's just for show. Also, I feel they won't have enough votes on their side. They'll have defections. Democrats control the Senate. They would still be. Oh, he's saying that if Democrats could actually remove Trump, would they do it? I think the answer is yes. I think they would. If the Democrats had the votes to remove this president in the Senate, they would do it. I do not think that they would back off. I think that they're crazy, and they would do this. So that's that answer. And then the Avengers movies, yeah, they're boring and they lack creativity. It's just true. I mean, I don't know what else to say. People get all mad at me. It's just, oh, it's the end. Oh, there's space aliens and a Hulk smash and, and all this stuff going. It's like, it's the same movie every time. There's no storyline. There's no story arc. There's no character development. They're just, oh, the Avengers are fighting with each other. Oh, no, the world is threatened. Now we're all going to fight against. Come on. Bring the ruckus, man. You know I'm right.
I'm with you. Highly overrated.
Highly overrated. Steve, have you ever considered naming a segment Buck Fever? No? Should we? I'm missing that. Is that a...
That sounds like a movie you may have made in the 70s.
Steve is OSS, though, so, I mean, at least we got him on... We got his thought here on the show. Jonathan writes in, Master and Commander, Weekend Watch was legit. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jonathan. I always give you legit recommend. When I say go see this, it means go see this. This is a great, great movie. So glad you guys checked it out. And, yeah, it's well worth it. I mean, there's violence in it, but I think you could. There's no sex. I don't think there's any cursing. So you could watch it with pretty young kids, I think. And it's, there's violence, though. It's some very violent stuff that happens, but it's not gratuitous violence. It's warfare violence. And, it's a good movie. And there's some good stuff. And that's going to be the show, everybody. How do we do the magic that we do so well? It's a spell. Team Buck, you make me want to shoot. That's going to be it for today. Fantastic to have you here. We'll be back tomorrow. Producer Brandon will be in the house. See you then. Shields high.